is a nice change of pace after all of the PvZ we've had in the day.
Is it nice? Do we? Is this what we want? Do we want? Oh boy.
For me personally, PvP is probably my favorite matchup.
Oh boy. Here we go, and we'll see how this player does here in the bottom right-hand corner of Lightshade LE. We have the Brazilian Protoss. He is blue. He is representing Team The Bad. Used to be no Nano, but he is now Shakti.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade LE. Currently 0-0. It is Alpha X's Pacomike.
Uh-oh. So we have a probe that is being sent out on the map for both players. Pacomike's is a little bit more standard. Shakti's though is headed over here. Oh boy, what are we going to see, StarDuck?
Proxy Void Ray, maybe?
Void Ray, yeah,
potentially.
Yeah. This is a pretty good spot for a proxy Stargate.
Yeah, because he hasn't thrown down his second gateway, and Pacomike should realize something might be up. He does see that, yeah, it's just one gateway, but 2 gas. This should be enough information for Pacomike to realize that this is not going to be a fast nexus. He's patrolling to make sure.
Oh, okay. We do have a bit of a pause here.
So this build is devastating if they open adepts into like sentries or something. But if you open Stalker, then it is not that bad to defend.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see how committed Shakti is going to be as well. Like, I imagine it's only going to be like a Void Ray to apply pressure. If it was Nina, then I would say it could even be just an Oracle to just dive in and just like mow down as many workers as possible. As we get back into the game.
Yeah. But yeah. I would say one of the best defenses versus is just throwing down your own Stargate, maybe getting Phoenix. Phoenixes do trade out better versus Void Ray's cost base wise. They do lose 1-on-1. But yeah, Phoenixes also are a way to stop the Void Rays from hanging around cliff lines and just being annoying in general.
Yeah. I guess.
And yeah, this does. Oh, sorry.
Keep going.
Yeah, Shakti is throwing down another pylon, so he it looks like he will be going for the Void Ray battery style, commonly known in PvT. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully Pacomike, he does scout this, he does see the pylon, so he should be aware that shield batteries are on the way. He did opt to go for a double Stalker opening, so he will have that anti-air. Unfortunately, he didn't commit to anything else like his own Stargate to help defend against the Void Rays.
Yeah, and I think maybe a second pylon, just to make sure the gateways don't get unpowered. And yeah, a shield battery is nice. Well, you're in defensive shield battery to defend. We'll have to see how it goes, because he's going for the D power.
Oh god, it's gonna be really close. He could get it. Oh god, one more volley.
He does get it. Very, very nice play by Pacomike. Wow. Realizing that Shakti, he does not have his own stalkers to deflect this. And he just delays its Void Ray for so long.
That he does. We have more Stalkers on the way. You say delay, but like, will it even finish? One of these pylons is going to go down, but the other will finish up.
Yeah. And 4 Stalkers can fight a Void Ray, but there are the batteries in case he wants to retreat to. And he goes for the pylon. Maybe not the wisest decision, loses a Stalker. Yeah. Yeah, it does unpower the Stargate again, but yeah. It is still a very rushed situation for Shakti.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that Pacomike didn't stop. He's still going across the map, looking to be as aggressive as possible. There's only one Void Ray here, but it is, you know, safely supported by these shield batteries. Will it deal much damage here? We'll see. It's looking unlikely with only one.
Yeah, and he has his own battery to defend. One thing to be slightly concerned of for Shakti is he has no defense at home. These Stalkers, yeah.
Oh, God.
They can do a lot.
Exactly, they can depower. GG.
GG. And yeah, I would say maybe for Shakti, maybe he wants to get a Zealot out to chase the Stalkers around a bit and stop them unpairing the pylon so fast. Or maybe just putting the Stargate in a more defensible location, maybe on top of the cliff in the middle on Lightshade, where the Stalkers can't get to it so easily.
Yeah. I do feel like usually when I see this happen, there is like a Stalker sent across the map to help like reinforce that position and keep that pylon up and running. And I will also give props to Pacomike. Like, it was really, really risky of him to dive onto that pylon as aggressively as he did. And it was so close as well, just barely delaying that Void Ray for so long.
Yeah. If that Void Ray gets up and there are only 2 Stalkers there, both those Stalkers will die. And that is very, very rough. So he was playing a bit of a gamble there. But one that paid off. He is currently up 1-0.
Yeah. Nicely done by Pacomike. And as we get into the next game, I do see that Sounder did request a group please. It's great. I appreciate that you set your channel points for the group please. Kuro is currently sound asleep. It is almost 5 a.m. in Poland, and she feels bad, man. She needs to sleep and wake up in time for GPO later on today. So, Sounder, as you are from Australia as well, if you do stick around later tonight for GPO, then we will make sure you get your crew please then and there.
And make sure it's for a ZBZ as well. Maybe Gogo Joey versus me or Mac.
Oh god. And speaking of mirror matchups, here we are in game number 2 of this best of 5 grand finals. We have the Brazilian Protoss player who is currently down 0-1 in this series, representing Team The Bad. It is Shakti.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, currently up 1-0 in the series due to some very excellent Void Ray defense. It is Alpha X's Pacomike.
Okay. I love it. Pacomike starting off really strong with the early game defense, something that honestly he struggled with in the past. But really cool that he's been able to tighten up and gives him an early lead in the series. And
yeah, like this is an unfortunate situation for Shakti, who did a gamble and it didn't pay off. And now he's returning to the more standard play. Maybe trying his luck in macro, seeing how strong Pacomike is there.
And we're all curious to see how good that is. Meanwhile, when it comes to the other Latin American Protosses, everyone don't forget, I know he's not here currently, but that is more of a reason to do so. Exclamation mark Funada Dastan in the chat, as Dastan is a Chilean Protoss player, actually, you know, a good friend of Pacomike. They actually had a podcast together for a while there, but no longer, so don't forget to Funada.
One thing to note is Shakti actually killed one of Pacomike's probes with his own scouting probe. So that's not really supposed to happen. And like, yeah, it's basically a nice lead he gets out of nothing really in the early game.
Yeah.
He does hide the fact that he's going adapted though.
Okay, and pretty interesting as we do have actually both. Oh my god, Shakti's actually going up to 4.
Yeah. Shakti might opt to play an 8-gate Adept, which actually would be a nice counter because Pacomike is currently going Stalker Sentry as a follow-up to these Adepts.
Oh boy, oh boy. And I mean,
yeah, and oh, yeah. I was gonna say these Adepts, they might be able to block his own shade in with their shades, making it so that you don't have to spend the money on batteries, but he instead opts for the maybe safer option of battery defense against the Adept shade in.
Yeah, a couple of interesting things are happening. So one, Pacomike, he did see 4 Adepts with his initial 2, so he should be aware that this Adept pressure is coming his way and he has to prepare for it. What's interesting is that Shakti is proxying his Twilight Council.
Very, very smart follow-up, I would have to say. Because, yeah, you don't really go Robo in defense to this. Like, Oracle is a nice way to deal with these Adepts, but just one Oracle on its own won't be able to defend DTs.
Exactly, and that is what the follow-up will be as the Dark Shrine is going down. Meanwhile, we do have the Adepts here of Shakti looking to find an opportunity to dive in. You know, they can very easily take, like, Focus Fire the Sentry, Focus Fire a couple of these workers, and they force Pacomike, I would say, to stay at home with this Oracle. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, this is unfortunate by Shakti getting caught out by this Oracle. But at the same time, it is spending the Oracle energy that won't be saved up for Revelation.
Exactly.
However, Pacomike, perhaps knowing Shakti's follow-up, he is going for a Robo afterwards. So he will have the ability to get an Observer for more permanent detection.
That he does. And we'll see how delayed the DTs are going to be for Shakti as, okay, nice wall off there by Pacomike. The Dark Shrine is about to finish up, and as is the Robo of Shakti, so I imagine we may be seeing a War Prism head out across the map. Oh god, he gets in!
Oh, that's so rough. As Pacomike, he isn't really prepared for this. Sure, he has a shield battery, but Adepts can one-shot probes part of this. And yeah, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 probes will go down.
That they do, and at the same time 2 DTs do get warped in. They are headed across the map, and what is there in terms of detection? Right now there's no observer. The Oracle, actually the War Prism is across the map, so is the Oracle.
Yeah, these Dark Templar have the potential to do game-ending damage. However, Pacomike, he does have a Prism. He might have the opportunity to do counter damage, but yeah, these DTs are brutal.
Oh god, that they are. And I was thinking maybe he could try and depower the Robo to deal even more damage, but instead he's just going for the secure drone damage or worker damage, as so many probes are going down on top of the probes that went down earlier to the Adepts.
Wow, 14 probes on 2 bases is very, very rough. And not only that, he gets the shield battery in the natural. So any follow-up pressure by Shakti will be even stronger. And Shakti, yeah, he is going for a kind of standard-ish follow-up after the craziness of his opener, getting Blink, getting the Forge. Pacomike, he does have the Warp Prism scattered right now.
He does, and he is warping into the main base. At the same time, Pacomike did dive in with his Oracle, and it went straight into those Stalkers. So the Stalkers did focus down the Oracle. The Oracle wasn't able to deal much damage whatsoever. There are Adepts here in the main base, which is nice. We'll see if he can get much damage done here. Ooh, a couple more Adepts shading into the natural.
Yeah, Pacomike's doing his best to fight his way back into us after taking so much economic damage. However, it's just not enough. Like, Shakti, he has a 4-worker lead right now, and he has the better tech. He's got Immortals, he's got Blink. However, Pacomike does have Charge. That might maybe be enough to defend the Stalker attack. I'm not convinced though, because Zealots, they need a mass, and he doesn't have the gateways to mass.
I was about to say the same thing. He only has 2 active gateways. You have 2 more gateways on the way, but they're only halfway done, if that. So he's not gonna have too many zealots to really work with in the defense. To be fair, because of these sentries, like he can force field the ramp, he can buy himself a little bit of time to get his stack defense up and get those warp-ins in.
One advantage he does have is he has much faster upgrades, and goes in for an aggressive blink. We'll have to see how it pays off. Shield battery overcharge not used yet. Oh, he has no energy.
Oh no, he has no energy. He was able to kill one of the immortals, which is nice, but the the force fields do run out. GG gets called.
Yeah, very, very smart opener from Shakti, I would say. Just getting a bit of an advantage with the adepts shading into the main base, but yeah, the DC follow-up was the real killer in that game.
Yeah, and to be fair, they really did play into each other, right? Like the adepts initially, they forced a bunch of that energy to be wasted for the oracle, right? Like it kind of one thing led into the other, and it was really nicely played by Shakti.
Yeah, and especially because he got into the main damage, Pacomike to feel pressure to deal his own kind of damage, and as a result, he can have his oracle at home.
Oh boy. And with that, Shakti does tie up the series 1-1, and we are getting into game number 3. All right, now that we're tied up, is Shakti going to go for another proxy?
I can't imagine he goes for the same. Maybe he goes for like a proxy robo or something.
Okay. We'll see. Fingers crossed. As we are getting into game number 3 of this best of 5, and spawning in the bottom right, we have our Mexican Protoss. He's red, representing Team Alpha X. It is Pacomike.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, playing for Team The Bad, it is Shakti.
Boy, okay.
And one thing I actually saw from that game is neither player is comfortable with one gate expand. Oxide is a map which is very good for one gate expand with the ramp at the natural. The fact that neither player opted for it suggests maybe they haven't practiced it a lot. They feel it's too greedy of an opener. But yeah, so we don't get that sort of another dimension to the early game PvP.
Yeah, and no one's crazy enough to. I know Max does this in the majority of these games, but like regardless of map, he goes for like the low ground wall as well in the PvP, and goes for like faster expansions.
Yeah, I've been doing that on LatAm, mate.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's a style that I want to get good at for ANZ champs. To give me extra options in the early game.
Okay. Fair. Again, it's something that I know a lot of Protosses do like play around with. I don't know if it's something that you should be doing every single game in a series, but like to be able to mix in confidently is always good.
Yeah, well, I mean, Max Pax makes it work because he's so good at it. Like, he plays so much ladder, and it's mostly Protoss, so he gets a lot of practice in it. if you're not as good with it, maybe you do it once or twice as a mix-up to maybe the scouting patterns. If they scout later than the gateway scout, you can do it. But yeah, as this game, Shakti's going for a robo before Nexus.
Interesting, as it is hidden behind the main base. We'll see if Pacomike can get into the main, as he did open up with 2 adepts. They are going across the map, looking to try and sneak in. There is a probe ready and waiting to block, though.
Yeah. And I wonder if Pacomike here gets a little bit suspicious of the lack of a probe ready to throw down a Nexus. And maybe thinks something might be up. Getting a shield battery precautionarily in his natural, and looks like he's opting for a Twilight play. So yeah, this opening by Shakti, it's interesting. It's less economic, but you get faster immortals, so you might be gearing up for a timing push later in the game.
Yeah, I would imagine so, which is quite scary. Again, this is something that Pacomike really needs to scout and figure out what is going on. We do see the Stalkers of Shakti are trying to push away the Adepts of Pacomike. Shakti on point with that shield battery block, so he does deny it, but at the same time, the Haluk should be getting into the main base, and Pacomike should see that robo.
And with that, he knows to be more cautious. Like, you don't really want to be going out on the map at all versus this fast robo. If you get caught off guard, you can just lose the game on the spot. He is getting Blink. Blink is a very, very powerful way to defend these sorts of timings, because if you get on top of the Warp Prism and kill it, that spells the end of the timing, unless you can kill them straight away.
Yeah, definitely. And he's taking this robo very seriously, by the way. He's throwing down 2 more shield batteries, some more pylons as well, and with good reason, because the attack is moving out across the map. We have a Warp Prism and that lone Immortal. I think the Adepts of Pacomike missed the move out, actually.
Yeah. Although he does see the pylon finishing and the lack of probes on the natural, so he knows what's up. Nice force fields on both sides, sort of zoning out each other's army, but ooh, Pacomike, he gets caught.
That he does, and in the end, one of his sentries do fall. A lot of the energy already gone from these shield batteries.
He really needs to time his battery overcharge well to buy him enough time to blink for his extra gates. Throws it down now. He might not have enough to defend though, as the Immortal is dealing so much damage.
Yeah, exactly. So much value with that Immortal. He's just being overwhelmed by these Stalkers. He's forced to pull the boys. Oh, God.
Yeah. And the shield battery runs out. That was the really thing, holding his defense together. He has to snipe this Immortal if he wants to defend this. It's dealing too much damage to his Stalkers.
Oh, God. And maybe he can get on top of it. He blinks forward. He's going for the Warp Prism.
Gets to Warp Prism. Shakti may have enough. No, he won't have enough. Like, he doesn't have any reinforcements, and this was a successful, albeit costly, defense.
Exactly. Pacomike, sure, he's down in workers, but he's just barely able to hold on. He continues on in this game, and Shakti just barely not enough.
Yeah, and now if I was Pacomike, I would be thinking about my own timing. I would be proxying a gateway or a pattern on the map, as you have the blink advantage over your opponent, and this is very, very big. Shakti, to his credit, he does have the robo attack. He can make immortals, but yeah, blink stalkers just versus non-blink stalkers just dominate them.
Yeah, like I feel like there's a lot of opportunity here for Pacomike to deal some damage. Like there are only 2 Stalkers here. Like he's immediately moving on forward. The thing I'm worried about is that he doesn't have any way to reinforce his army, so he does have to be a little bit careful when the Immortal does pop out.
This one Immortal, yeah, it can drive the Stalkers back, but already Pacomike took a fantastic trade. I don't think he lost any Stalker in that fight, and he killed 2 Stalkers and a sentry.
Oh boy, and he does reinforce his army. 2 more Stalkers join the fray, and yo, he's ready to pounce upon that Immortal. Oh.
Nice blink macro in the back, the damaged Stalkers, but there is no shield battery in the natural for Shakti, and gets sniped. GG gets cold. Pacomike takes a 2-1 lead.
GG. Once again, Pacomike showing off his defense, right? We saw it in game number 1. We see it again here. It was looking kind of shaky, not gonna lie, but really nice play with his Blink Stalkers. Oof. And yeah, he was just barely able to hold on. Again, I do like that he, you know, he realized the situation he was in, and he did end up pulling the boys for that, like, to hold at his natural. I was a little bit concerned that maybe it was a little bit too late, and especially because we saw that Immortal was being so efficient and dealing so much damage. But yeah, really, really nicely done with the Blinks, being able to focus down both the Immortal and the War Prism.
And the next map will be Pillars of Gold. So another map which is good for one get expand. However, I don't expect either play to do it, although maybe Shakti might be able to do it as a mix-up. Maybe.
Oof. We shall see. As Pacomike, he just needs one more win to close it out. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the wisest choice for Shakti to really do something too risky here in this game.
What I want to see from Shakti is just maybe a standard safe macro opener, because he's been aggressive in all 3 of his games, and it hasn't exactly worked out for him.
Yeah, not really. Even though he was able to put a point on the board, it doesn't seem to be the correct avenue to play out this series. But we'll see. We'll see what he has in store for us as spawning in the top right. We have the Brazilian Protoss player representing Team The Bad. Currently down 1-2 in this best of 5. It is Shakti.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, it is Team Alpha X's Pacomike.
Oh boy. So what would you like to see from Shakti this game, other than more of a standard game?
I'd like to see how he plays out Blinkstalker Immortal timings, maybe versus third base.
It doesn't look like we're gonna get there. He's doing it again, StarDuck. He's doing it again.
Oh, wait, maybe not. Just getting a second gateway.
Oh.
So yeah, he might be going for a proxy Stargate in this case, or on the other hand, maybe just scouting for proxies. Yeah, this probe looks like it's thrown down a pylon. We'll have to see if it's proxy Robo or proxy Stargate.
I imagine it's going to be a Stargate, but we shall see what gets thrown down once that 7-8 score does finish up. I guess because that gateway was thrown down at home, things don't look too out of the ordinary. Other than the fact that, of course, there is a pylon missing.
Yeah, and of course, you never know whether it's a mind game.
Yeah.
If it's really, in fact, yes, the Stargate does get thrown down. Pacomike, he has to do his scouting diligently. He sends another probe out on the map. It is rallied to the left-hand side. Both are rallied to the left-hand side. This looks promising for Pacomike to be able to spot this.
Yeah. It looks like he should spot it with his probe to the north, as they're both checking, but he doesn't go down. Oh, okay, there we go. Ooh.
This is a nice spot off. Obviously, Proxy Stargate isn't the most committed of proxies. Oftentimes, you just want to get an Oracle out and then expand behind. However, this does mean that Shakti has no idea that Pacomike opened to Adept, and these Adepts might be able to get damage done.
Yeah, exactly. As we do see the Shade is going in, and there's no probe ready and waiting to throw down a pylon. Does he commit, though?
Yeah. Yes. 1, 2. I can imagine this will deal a lot of damage. As Stalkers aren't the best at killing adepts, forces a big probe pool. 3 go down so far, maybe 4. And this is a rough start. However, he does have the potential with his Oracle, although Pacomike has his 2 defensive Phoenix already.
Wow, the Phoenixes are ready and waiting. Mate, this Oracle is not going to deal any damage as the Phoenixes do chase it away. At the same time,
Yes,
we do have
Mr.
2
Recall.
adepts. Oh god. No, it's too late.
You can't outrun Phoenix. You have to recall verse them. Oh man, this is rough. 7 probes go down. Wow.
Wow, and on top of that, no damage will be done as the Oracle goes down. The Adept should go down as well. As it does manage to just barely shade away. But this is a beautiful start from Pacomike. I guess an advantage that Shakti does have is he does have a bit of a faster Nexus.
Yeah, well, the problem with this scenario is he has nothing to sort of contend with this mass Phoenix count. Phoenixes, they struggle with Blink Stalkers. They do very, very fine against anything else on the ground, like sentries they can pick up and kill with ease. Blinkless Stalkers get outmaneuvered, and I can't imagine Shakti's probe count will be looking too healthy.
Exactly, especially without any stack defense to help support the ground army, you know, the blinkless stalkers, as you will. There's no shield batteries, there's nothing here, so Pacomike with good enough micro, like he can find some damage, he can focus on those probes.
Alright, start from Shakti. Does get 1 Phoenix without it dealing too much damage. And Phoenix is a snowball unit, right? You really don't want any to die because they're just generating free damage with their lift-offs.
Yeah, so already a really good start by Shakti, able to start to stem the tide a little bit. At the same time, we do have 4 Stalkers of Pacomike headed into the natural.
And looks like Shakti will be able to defend with a little bit of a probe pool. Of course, Stalker's not being the best first probes. However, yeah. Wow, that's actually very nice splitting by Shakti, keeping 3 Stalkers and 2 Sentries in the main, sort of deflecting the Phoenix. As... Wait, why did Pacomike recall?
That's a good question. Maybe something in him, maybe alarm bells flared because he's like, oh right, there was a proxy Stargate. Maybe he was afraid like an Oracle would dive in. So I look, Pacomike, sometimes he just does things, okay?
Yeah, this opening does not go the way I was expecting. I thought these Phoenix would be able to do more damage than the Dumb. Credit to Shakti for his defense. And yeah, it looks like he's slowly but surely crawling his way back into this game after a terrible start.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since Pacomike hasn't really committed to any more Phoenixes. Like he's only committed to these 4 and he hasn't gone into any more.
Yeah. And yeah, if this 5th Phoenix was alive, I feel like he would be able to dive on these separate armies and maybe pick off a Stalker or a Sentry or 2. Does get the probe going for the 3rd though, which is always nice and annoying.
Yeah, that he does. He does take a little bit of damage from those Stalkers, but again, he gets a really nice, delay, and he is aware of the timing of the 3rd base of Shakti. At the same time, he is going for his own, and we are going to be getting into, I think for the first time, a more we're going to be getting into the mid game here between these 2 players as they're both working on their blinks. We just see upgrades on the way for Pacomike. I say that, but Shakti is already going across the map.
Yeah, Shakti needs to do some counter damage here because he has no Forge. Ooh, catches another Phoenix. However, this does alert Pacomike. He doesn't have any shield batteries at his 3rd yet, so this attack by Shakti might be good enough. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. As Shakti does have a slight Stalker advantage, but they get CC'd.
Yeah, nice lift off for the Phoenix and an aggressive blink. Shakti got sort of caught off guard there without his Sentries to help out the Stalkers. And this was a very nice defense by Pacomike.
Wow, he just swats the army away, and now this is terrifying because Pacomike has that +1 advantage. You know, we have Zealot legs on the way, and as you said, Shakti without any forge, still no forge being thrown down, he's going to be perpetually behind in terms of upgrades.
Yeah, and especially in Zealot, like Mass Zealot, Stalker fights, upgrades play a pretty big role. Pacomike not going for the Stalkers, maybe a bit of a mistake as Shakti aggressively blinks forward. Very nice blink micro by Pacomike though.
Yeah, and you know what? There are reinforcements from Pacomike, so he is able to stay his ground here, going toe-to-toe with these Stalkers, and GG gets called.
GG. Pacomike with a convincing 3-1 victory over Shakti.
GG, I love it. Pacomike cementing his position here amongst the Latin American Protoss players as the one on top. Doesn't matter that he was on a bit of a hiatus. You know, he's been a little bit MIA in the beginning of 2021. We see him come back and come back pretty strong. Oh. And with that, he will, of course, be our Sentimiento Latino. Beautiful, beautiful. He will be our Sentimiento Latino number 104 champion. Congratulations, Pacomike. It's great to see you back. And on top of that, like, it wasn't an easy road for him whatsoever. Again, like, I'm not just this finals, but I was so impressed with this series against Ryu.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he showcased some very, very strong PvZ and now some pretty good PvP.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, the one thing that we haven't seen much of for him is that PvT, and that is something that he has to work on, especially when we head into DreamHack. Of course, the two big names in the region, the two big Terrans are, of course, Special and Kelazur, and they're always the ones that people do struggle the most against. But already Pacomike is looking pretty strong here, and I don't want to say he's a shoo-in, but like, again, he's looking good to at least qualify for the DreamHack main event once it does come around.
How many slots are
in Latin America? The main event is like 8 players, I think. Yeah, it's not a lot, especially because 3 of them are shoo-ins, like Special, Kelazur.
No one's beating.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so we got 8 spots, you know, Special and Kelazur in there 100%. Same with Cham, you know, they're the top 3, and it's basically everyone else fighting for those 5 spots. It's rough. It's a bloodbath when it does come down to it.
Yeah.
Especially when you throw Turkey Dano into that, like everything goes up in the air at that point. But yeah, GG, well played, congratulations to Pacomike, and do you have anything to say about your fellow Protoss here?
Yeah, very nice defensive play in PvP. And I would say, yeah, if it's your weakest matchup, then you're doing very well.
Definitely. I'm proud of him. I'm legitimately proud of Pacomike. Oh boy. And with that, we of course near the end of our broadcast. It's been relatively what we would expect, you know, 4.5 hours so far. Thank you so much, StarDuck, for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed your time here.
Yeah. And
if the people wanted to know or follow you, where can they find you, StarDuck?
Twitch.tv/StarDuck_SC. I stream occasionally, Protoss Ladder. And I guess Twitter, StarDuck_SC2, but I don't really post anything.
Are you going to be more active on Twitter?
Maybe.
Are you gonna stream more often?
That's also a maybe.
Mate, exclamation mark put not a StarDuck in the chat. Come on, mate. Oh god. But thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Of course, if you're wondering who is casting with me today, he doesn't usually show up for broadcasts here. StarDuck is an Australian Protoss player. He's of course an up and comer. He's looking pretty good so far amongst the other Oceanic and Southeast Asian players. So be sure to tune in and cheer for him in ANZ Champs, as ANZ Champs will be starting up in about a month. And before that, of course, we do have Grand Platypus Open tonight as well. Are you going to be playing in that?
Otherwise known as, yeah, of course. Otherwise known as Mira Micah vs Gogo Joey Derby.
Look. Sometimes, yeah.
We need Seether to show up and take one of them out, you know, for some diversity.
We need Seether to show up and get knocked down by Gogo Joey is what we need. Oh god, but sometimes we have some surprising results. I don't know if you remember last week, Gogo Joey won, and it wasn't even a ZVZ finals.
Yeah. I think Azure took out Mia last time.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Although he has expressed his frustration versus playing Gogo Joey a lot.
Many times. He's been like that for over a year. He's his frustrations against Gogo Joey. But yes. Tonight will be Grand Platypus Open. That is our next broadcast in 5, almost 6 hours. So wait, is that? That's not correct. Hold on a moment there. Sorry, it will be in
3.5 hours?
Yes, 3.5 hours. So be sure to tune in there. I will be casting that alongside Yakuzaku. And of course, Kuro will also be there for you to spend your channel points for those group pleases. So yes, that will be our next broadcast. As you can see, we're alive throughout the week. 6 out of the 7 days. We have plenty of StarCraft here on the CranKy Ducklings channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much, Jim Rising, for not the raid, but for sending a bunch of your viewers over as well. Jim Rising, even though he didn't make it to the finals, he had a pretty good showing, especially against the Zerg Lord. He still needs to work against his Protoss, but you know, he'll get there eventually. Maybe, or he'll just switch to Protoss full time. We'll see. we'll see what happens. Feels bad, man. But with that, thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you in 3 hours.